Plus, DC really needs a win after some recent flops like the Joker sequel, so this is not the kind of publicity they're seeking out. And these types of political statements, when it comes to stories from our childhood, they have backfired before. We remember 23-year-old actress Rachel Ziegler, who stars as Snow White in Disney's live-action remake. She received an incredible amount of backlash when she posted to social media, quote, "May Trump supporters and Trump voters and Trump himself never know peace. Another 4 years of hatred is leading us towards a world I do not want to live in." Now, she's since apologized, and any box office consequences are yet to be seen. But again, seems like isolating portions of the paying audience might not be a great idea. Well, our guest tonight is someone who might agree or disagree with James Gunn's decision. We're going to find out in a minute. But what I can tell you about actor Neil McDonough is that in an industry full of people who will do anything for the part, he is a successful actor that you might know from Yellowstone, Band of Brothers, Tulsa King, that has stuck to his personal and moral convictions throughout his career. I'm a big fan, if you couldn't tell. Joining us now, actor Neil McDonough, who currently stars in the film Homestead in theaters right now. Thanks so much for coming on. So nice to meet you. I'm going to ask you about Homestead in a minute, but is this a mistake from James Gunn?
Look, the original Superman, my dear late friend Dick Donner directed, and to me it's one of the greatest films of all time. What Gene Hackman did as Lex Luthor is whom I've stolen from so many times as the villain du jour in so many films in the last decade or so. So, it's hard to ever beat that. But look, when James Gunn, who's an incredibly talented director, did this about a year and a half ago, it's kind of like the same as we did with Homestead. A year and a half ago, the world was in a much different place than it is today, I think. I think back then with the inflation, with the problems all around the world, and everyone feeling the tension of what was going on in the world at that time, as opposed to now where there's a new wave of energy, I think that the division has finally subsided. And I think people are understanding that America is the greatest country ever made. And we always forget that in the Declaration of Independence, God was mentioned 4 times in it. And I think that's coming back into the United States of America as well, finally. And I think that's what he was probably thinking a year and a half ago. But I think if he made the film now, he might be a little different in his approach, possibly. Who knows?
It's the recent comment. Because, look, Superman was truth, justice, the American way. To make that comment now is problematic. Because let me be clear. Top Gun Maverick, right, was one of the most successful films in the last few years. And that was rah-rah, America, flag wheeling. Look at these box office numbers. There's a reason for that, and I wonder whether other Hollywood directors or stars should be thinking about that, Neil.
I don't know. I'm not the most political guy in the world. For me, it's all about faith and family and film. That's who I am, and having a film like Homestead coming out this last week and that's done so well, this little independent film that has caught fire, and they thought it was going to be about a $3.5 million opening weekend. It's turned to a $6.5 million opening weekend. Because I think people want to go back and see movies where they can sit around with the whole family, watch a great movie, and learn from it, and have a discussion about it. Where a lot of films nowadays, you can't have that. And Angel Studios, they're amazing what they do. And they allow my wife, Reve, who's not only my production partner, but my love of my life, that we get to do these films together. And now we're about to do our 10th production together. And they all have faith in it. They all have a backdrop of him in everything that we do. And I think America's really enjoying that. And I think it's building and building. And I'm so excited about the future of film in the United States of America.
And I want to talk about Homestead for a second because, if you equate it to the Superman film, right, it presents a dark version of America, but it's not a superhero film, right? But you are not shying away from the story you want to tell in this thriller, right?
Yeah, well, atomic bomb goes off. United States is thrown upside down, and what happens? And my character, who's kind of this Richard Branson character, this billionaire who has this massive homestead, who always thought something like this might occur. Well, it occurs. Now what's going to happen? He hires this militia to protect his ground, but he has everything for his family. What about the people outside of the gates? And he says that he's a Christian, and well, what is he actually going to do about it? Is he going to turn his friends and other family members away, or is he going to welcome people in and give, as we're supposed to our neighbors? And I love the message of Homestead. I love films that talk about big issues, and at the end of it, we can all get through it positively and not divided, and I'm very proud of what we did for this film.
Neil, real quick, 15 seconds, did you like the Yellowstone finale?
Yes, I did. I think that Taylor Sheridan is an absolute genius. I think it's fantastic.
All right. Neil McDonough, thanks so much. Congratulations on the film. Hopefully everybody watches it.
Merry Christmas. God bless you guys. Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.